Today we're talking about buying a Toyota Land Cruiser 90 Series, and I want to start this video off by saying g'day mate to all my viewers from Australia going to Maccas. Didn't realize I had so many Australian viewers until I did my last video on the general which Toyota Land Cruiser should you buy video. The viewers from down under had a lot to share in the comments, especially about the 90 series, so guys, don't be shy. Let us know everything you know in the comments below this video, please. As for me, I'm James Reeves. Over the past 15 years or so, I've owned and daily driven 4 different classic Land Cruisers, including importing a 90 series. In this video, I tap into insights from my buddy Aaron Ross at Bulldog Auto,
Wishy this.
who's been exporting Land Cruisers from Japan for years. I've gone deep into Toyota service manuals, long-term owner reports, and enthusiast forums like I Hate Mud and Prado Point to put this video together. If you want to know how the 90 drives, what it's like to live with day to day, check out my full review where I break all that down as well as the history of the car. But in this video, we're just going to get straight to the point. If you want one, how to buy one, and what to look for. We're going to cover the best and worst engines, mechanical issues, and off-road performance, parts support, reliability, what you should expect to pay for one as we sit here today. This is everything you need to know before buying a 90 Series Prado. Let's get started. I guess we're getting ahead of ourselves, but if you wanted to buy one, I would recommend one of two things. And I'm speaking to the viewers in North America where the 90 series was never imported. No, not even as a Lexus. I would say you have 3 options. One, you could kind of hope to get lucky on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or something like that, but that's pretty risky. Next, you could check out the classifieds on I Hate Mud, even though I don't see a lot of 90 series on there, but that's a knowledgeable community. You can usually find feedback on sellers. That's one of the best options if you're going to buy domestically. If you want to pay the most but have the best chance at getting a good truck, I would say probably bring a trailer. If you don't know how bring a trailer works, they vet the vehicles, kind of, before they list them, including looking at the title, requiring pictures of the undercarriage, so on and so forth. But if you want to get the best car and save the most money, you don't mind doing a little legwork, a little paperwork, and waiting a few months for the boat to come across the ocean, I highly recommend my close personal friend Aaron Ross at Bulldog Auto. He'll inspect them for you, he'll buy it, he'll get it over to you as cheaply as possible, and he knows the 90 series quite well. But if you're brave enough to take this task on yourself, let me give you some pointers. We're going to start with body styles. The Prado 90 series came in 2 configurations. The 3-door short wheelbase model, smaller, lighter, more maneuverable. It's great off-road because it's got a better breakover angle, but it doesn't have as much space as the 5-door. I will say that's what I had. These are a joy to drive with the intercooled 3-liter turbo diesel engine, as they are quite peppy. Whoa! This thing will go. And there's also more space than you might imagine for passengers and cargo, even in this RAV4 on Tren. These are much less common than the 5-doors as well, so I see more collector value here. The 5-door long wheelbase model is the one that most people want for city driving or everyday ownership. It's more practical, it's got a proper second row, plenty of cargo space, but it's much more common than the 3-door and a little bit less sexy in my opinion. Now let's get into engines. Choosing the right engine for these vehicles is absolutely critical. I call this the engine lottery because there are only 2 that are worth a damn, in my opinion, in the 90 series. I want to say Toyota offered maybe around 5 engines in the 90 series, some better than others. The best engine overall would be the intercooled 1KZTE turbo diesel. The 1KZTE is a 3-liter turbo diesel known for its strong low-end torque and its fuel efficiency. However, the non-intercooled 1KZTE has a known issue with cracked cylinder heads, usually caused by overheating. The intercooler helps manage heat better, it gives you more power, better fuel efficiency, making this version the best engine choice in my opinion. If you can't find the intercooled 1KZTE, that's okay. I just recommend trying to find a 1KZTE with under 100,000 kilometers on it and checking the engine thoroughly. Look for thick white smoke from the exhaust, milky or cloudy coolant, bubbles in the radiator, or brown sludge under the oil cap. If you spot any of these, walk away or budget for a costly repair because it might have a cracked head. That usually means a full replacement, not just a gasket fix. However, if everything looks good here, many Prado owners will install an EGR block-off plate to disable the exhaust gas recirculation system, which is usually the culprit in overheating. If you plan on doing a lot of towing or interstate driving, maybe skip the diesel altogether and go for the best petrol engine, arguably the best engine in the series, the 3.4-liter V6 5VZ-FE. Another plus, this engine was also used in the 4Runner and the Tacoma here in the US, so parts are easier to find. It's smooth, it's reliable, it makes good power, but it's not the most fuel-efficient option. If you can live with 16 to 19 miles per gallon, great choice. I'd avoid any of the other engines unless you're getting a killer deal, as they'll be at best underpowered and at worst ticking time bombs. So you found one with a good engine. Well, now here are the other things that you need to check out. If you're looking at an automatic Prado, make sure it shifts smoothly, doesn't feel sluggish or jerky. The A343F transmission, solid in these trucks, but overheating can occur if the car was used frequently for towing or off-roading. If you can, try to drive the truck for at least 15 minutes and see if shifts feel smooth. Check the transmission fluid. If it smells burnt, if it looks dark brown, the transmission may have overheated in the past. If you plan on towing or off-roading, consider looking at a sub 100,000 kilometer truck and installing a transmission cooler. Unlike other classic Land Cruisers, the Prado 90 has independent front suspension, which gives a smoother ride than older Land Cruisers, but you get more wear and suspension components. Worn out lower control arm bushings and leaking steering racks can be seen on high mileage units. Listen for clunking or knocking noises from the front end, or if the front suspension feels loose or unstable, the bushings and steering components may need replacement. Check the truck for rust. While 90s aren't necessarily rust buckets like, say, 60s can be, the Prado 90 can get rust in snowy or coastal regions. Check the rear tailgate around the spare tire mount, check the chassis rails, check the suspension mounts, check the sunroof drains. If you're buying in a humid or a snowy region, check thoroughly underneath the car with a flashlight. Avoid any vehicle with deep frame rust. The good news is that undercoating was a very popular practice in Japan. My 90 series came with thick, durable black undercoating that meant my 90 looked new underneath except for the exhaust, which exhibited typical corrosion for a car this age. While I myself wouldn't buy a 90 series with any of these issues, if you find any of them, they're not necessarily deal breakers if you have a good shop or if you know how to turn a wrench. You can prevent or fix some of the problems with parts available in the US, but they can lead to expensive repairs if they're not properly maintained. Before buying, do a thorough inspection, check service records, and if possible, take the Prado to a mechanic who knows Land Cruisers. What if you want an off-roader more than a city driver? The Prado 90 uses independent front suspension instead of a solid axle like older Land Cruisers, which makes it more comfortable on-road and on the highway, but the 90 has less articulation than a solid axle. It may be more refined than older Land Cruisers and great for urban use, but don't let that fool you. It's still a serious off-road machine. There are plenty of great videos on YouTube, again, many of them from Australia, about overlanding 90 series cruisers. While it doesn't have the solid front axle of a 70 series, it does hold its own on technical terrain. Some models came with a center diff lock, which forces a 50-50 power split between the front and rear axles. Some models also came with rear locking or limited slip differentials. Accordingly, be sure to look for this feature if you insist on having the most off-road capable 90. But well-known off-road company ARB apparently makes an aftermarket diff locker, so don't look too hard for the factory version if that's something you really want. With all that out of the way, let's talk pricing. How much should you expect to pay for a Prado 90 in 2025 in the US? Prices vary depending on condition, mileage, and engine choice, and of course location, whether or not you're importing or exporting. If you're looking for a budget Prado 90, I'd expect to pay around $5,000 to $8,000 for a high mileage example with 200,000 to 250,000 kilometers. These are usually well worn. They may need some mechanical work and maintenance. They could have rust. If you're mechanically inclined and you don't mind some fixing up, this could be a good entry point for you, but I'd probably steer clear of non-intercooled 1KZ turbo diesels on any cruiser with over 100,000 kilometers unless you're really comfortable with assessing the engine's condition. Just go with the 6-cylinder petrol engine from the Tacoma. Good condition Prado 90, 150,000, 200,000 kilometers. Prices jump to around $10,000 to $15,000. At this price and mileage point, look for well-maintained models with service history, decent interiors, no rust. If you want a low-mileage, pristine Prado 90 like I got, be prepared to spend $16,000 to $20,000 $20,000+ if you buy it in the US. But again, it's totally reasonable to think that you can get one in very good condition for $12,000 to $15,000 if you decide to import it yourself, and that includes shipping. Hit up Aaron at Bulldog Auto Japan. So if you're thinking about buying a Prado 90, now is the time. Clean examples are getting harder to find. One last important tip: there are plenty of accessories for the 90 series on Yahoo Auctions Japan, like round headlight conversions, which I had. Looks awesome. Different grills, aftermarket, floor mats, other parts. How do you buy them though? I recommend 500yenshop.com. It's a site that translates the listings, allows you to search and bid Japanese auctions and shopping sites, and then they'll ship the items to you. Final thoughts. Should you buy a Prado 90? By now, you should have a solid understanding of the Toyota Land Cruiser Prado 90 series. The 90 is one of the best bang-for-your-buck Land Cruisers out there. Comfy for daily driving, capable for off-roading, doesn't have the cult following of the 80 series or 70 series, but that's why it's affordable, at least for now. Make sure you pick the right engine. Inspect it with the tips I've given you, and buy now before prices climb. If you found this guide helpful, make sure you like, subscribe, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Are you considering a 90? Do you already own one? Tell me all about it. And if you want a deeper dive into the truck, check out my review of my 3-door on this channel. Thanks for watching, and take care, everyone.